Masked and alphaed objects can help you make objects in Max that you can see through parts of them. So you're basically making a template to tell Max what parts of the object you want to see and which ones you don't. So first we're going to start with how to make both. And they're a little bit different. You can get the same effects with either. And game engines are going to usually take masks, but some of the game engines will also take alphas. So we'll cover both. And that way you'll know how to make both and you can choose which one you want to make. I've got a leaf picture here. It's just a scan. And the background is colored close to the same color as my leaf. That way if my mask or alpha channel is off a little bit, it's not going to matter. It's still going to be green. And the way we make these objects, or these images, I guess we should call them, is just getting a hold of the background. Your background needs to be a solid color. It makes it a lot easier. And I'm just going to select a color range, and I'm going to click on the background. I'm going to set my slider somewhere around 40, but you may need to play with it on your particular scan. And I'm going to say OK, and it's going to select just the background. I'm going to fill that background with black. Black is going to be all the areas that we're going to see through. In other words, it's going to be invisible. Then I'm going to invert this selection, and I'm going to color it white. And now we've created what will eventually be a mask. Now I'm filling in some of these areas where my color range wasn't exactly perfect. There's some areas here that need a little bit of filling in to touch them up. But when I'm done, I end up with something that looks like this. Now I'm going to undo that really quick just so we can get back to where we wanted. I have more brushes here than I thought. There we go. Paint bucket, and paint bucket. Okay. And we would be left with something that looks like this. Now I have two layers here. I have my color layer, which is going to be my diffuse layer, and a black and white layer underneath it. I made these before the video. What I'm going to do is deselect that. I'm going to hit Control A, and that's going to select this entire image, so everything that's shown, and then Control C. That's going to copy everything. I'm going to go under Channels. Just a second. Let me delete this channel because I was practicing and forgot to delete it. Under Channels, I'm going to make a new channel, and it's going to be an alpha channel. And then I'm just going to hit Control V, and it's going to, and I got to do that over again. Okay, Control C, and then go back over here and Control V. And it's going to make a copy of our black and white image in the alpha channel. And you can see if I turn back on my RGB channel, everything that's red is going to be see-through. That's kind of a frisket mask. And then everything that's white we're going to see. So if we go back to layers and click on our color layer, everything we can see that's not red is going to be visible. And everything that's red or has the frisket mask over it is going to be invisible over in Max. When we save this, we have to save it as a 32-bit format for an alpha channel. Masks are a little bit different. But for our alpha channel, we would save this as, there's a couple formats that will work. PSD formats will work in Max, but they will not export to most, if any, game engines. You can use BMP, although they're kind of large and unmanageable for games. I use Targas a lot, although that's getting to be a bit of an older format. DDS is another format that will save as 32-bit. And TIFF will save as 32-bit. I believe PNG will also save as 32-bit, and that actually is being used in some game engines now. I'm going to save mine as a Targa, and I'm going to save this as Leafeth Alpha 2, and we'll go ahead and save it. And we want 32 bits because that extra 8 bits over 24 bits is our alpha channel. And now this image is done. I don't need to save anything else here. And if I was to open that back up, you'll see that my layers are still here. Oh, that's the wrong one. I was going to say, why are my layers still there? Because I opened the wrong one, that's why. We're going to have to open it this way. Which one was it? Leaf with alpha 2. Here we go. Okay. My layers are gone because I didn't save a PSD file. I don't need the layers, but in my alpha, or in my channels, I now have an alpha channel, and that's what we want for our game asset over in Max. Okay, I'm going to hop over to Max now, and in Max, I've got a flat plane here, so it's just a regular plane, not a box, and I've applied a diffuse texture, which is this one here. I just dragged it over, and this one just has this image on it. No alpha channel. You see, if I click on this icon up here, it's all white, which means everything's going to be visible when it renders. So if I render this, what I get is just a square with a green background and this leaf. It's just like a picture, nothing special. Same thing we've always been doing. I'm going to convert this to an object with an alpha channel. So I'm going to hop over here and get the right one. Let's see, we're using D1. I'm going to hop over here to my Targos. I believe it's this one. Okay. And if I put the object with the alpha channel and render it, nothing's going to happen except that I'm using a slightly different image. And what we need to do is tell Max that there's an alpha channel attached to this. So I'm going to drag this same image down under opacity. We want a copy. And you'll see if I render it now, it's all going to be see-through because Max thinks that we're using an alpha channel on the whole object. And that's not what we want. So we need to go down under opacity and we need to click alpha. And what this is now telling Max is use the alpha channel of this image, that alpha channel, so that when we render it, we get a solid leaf and no background. And remember, your background has to be completely black or it won't work. You're going to get a ghosted image here if it's not completely black. Okay, now over here we've got a couple different objects, and what I've done here is I've made masks. Now a masked object, if we hop back over to Photoshop, looks like this. It's two different here we go. Two different images where the alpha channel has been stripped out into a mask image, and we're using two different images instead of both combined in an alpha channel. So I need a diffuse texture, and I need an alpha, or not an alpha, a mask that I'm going to put in the opacity slot. So two different images. An alpha image has the alpha channel attached to it, embedded in it, where a mask is a separate image. And if I hop back over here to Max, this one has my diffuse image here, see no alpha channel, and under my opacity I have a masked image that also has no alpha channel. It's just a black and white image. And if I drag this over and we render it, I'm going to get a leaf that basically does exactly the same thing, it's just a different way of doing it. So that's a mask, two different images, a diffuse image, and an opacity mask image, and the alpha channel has the alpha embedded in it, and it takes a little bit more fixing up in Max to let Max know what you're doing. Here's another leaf, same idea. This one has a mask on it. You can see different images here. This one has an alpha channel attached to it. Same effect, but the same map. And in this case, well, let's look under the diffuse. In this case, I have an image with an alpha channel embedded into it. So two different ways to do the same thing. Remember that button under the alpha channel, though. This button here, if I jump back over, you need to tell it alpha channeled here. If you have an alpha channel, if you're using a mask, it would be RGB intensity, which is the default. Okay? So I'm going to open up another scene here. Actually, no, I'm not. It's all embedded in this one. I'm going to unhide all of these. Okay. This guy I'm going to hide again. And now we're going to look at the lighting on this. If I go ahead and light this, I now have a plane underneath this. And you can see that if I light it with a regular target spotlight, which is what this is. Actually, it's a target direct light. With a shadow map on it, the shadow is going to be cast from this whole plane, and that's not what we want. Alpha channeled objects or masked objects have to use ray traced shadows in Max. So if I grab this spotlight, let's grab it from up here. It's not a spotlight, target light. Go under its parameters. That was the target direct. There we go. Go under its parameters, and under its map type, I'm going to change this to ray trace shadows. Now render it. I'm going to get a shadow that matches the leaf, and you can only do that with ray trace shadows. So you have to use the ray trace shadow effect on it. Now one more thing we can do. I'm going to go ahead and hide this, and let's do this. Unhide all. Now I'll hide this. There we go. I'm going to grab this guy and move him over here. This is a plane that has a noise modifier applied to it. You can see I can make the noise bigger or smaller depending on what I want to do. I'm going to make this just kind of bumpy. I'm going to apply one of these masked objects in this case to it, or masked shaders. Render this, and I can get a bent leaf effect on that plane with noise applied to it, and I can get a leaf that looks like it's bent or wrinkled up, like a real leaf would be. And you can do this with your objects. The noise modifier you can collapse down, and it will keep it in place. You can see under strength. Actually, let's use scale here. I'm going to make it a little bit smaller. We'll make the strength come down. We'll re-render this, and we'll get a crumply leaf this time. So it's just a way of playing with the modifiers to get a slightly different effect. Now I have to have a lot of polygons in that plane to do that, but you get the idea. Okay, and I'm going to open up another file here just to show some examples of what you can do with this. And let's hop over here real quick. Okay. Oh, I thought those were all over. Tell you what, let me open this up one more time. And we will, there we go. My image maps didn't carry over, so I'm going to go find them. Thought they did. In the wrong spot. Come on. There we go. Which one was it? This one. Okay. Okay, and if I render this, zoom in a little bit, you can see that these objects have really jagged edges. These are plants for a game, and they have really angular edges on them. But if I render them, I get nice smooth edges. And the way that we've done that is by using masks. So if I click on this particular object here, and we look at its unwrap, zoom out a little bit. Let's collapse all these down really quick. I'm just going to grab all the vertices in here. Didn't set this up as well as I thought I did. Okay, so we've got all these polygons selected here. And I'm going to go to Unwrap UVW. Now we'll look at our UVW layout. You can see that I've got these plant objects here, these leaves. And if we look at the actual texture map, you'll see how we get those smooth edges. In my my polygons here go around where the leaves are, but if we look at our mask for that object, and this one uses a mask, no it doesn't, alpha channel, you can see that my alpha channel has all of this detail built into it, so even little rips in the leaves. And when we zoom in here, we'll render this another time, you can see little rips in the leaves there, where the alpha channel is making that look a little bit more realistic. And we can change the background color to see it a little bit better. There you go. You can see those little rips in the leaves there. But using masks and alpha channels is a really good way to make an object look higher poly than it really is, or take care of thin objects like fish fins or leaves with very few polygons. And again, you can see the low polygon. I only have about 6 or 8 polygons per leaf here. Okay, so that's using masks and alphas, and you can play with those samples that I gave you and make some alpha channeled images and some masked images and play around.